Hi, it's Denis Rule. Thanks for joining me in the studio. Today I'd like to talk to you about my lighting setup. I've been getting a lot of questions on Facebook and on Flickr about exactly how I light these videos. So I will pull back the cameras, show you around the studio, give you a behind the scenes look. At the same time, we'll talk about the Wescott Skylux LEDs that I've been using for the last 6 months now for both photography and for video. So I'm going to give you my impressions on those. And we'll also talk a little bit more about audio. Some of the sound dampening material that I found to use in the studio, and a very reasonably priced as well. Also going to do another sound comparison, and so I guess we'll jump right into that one. Right now I'm using the Rode NTG2 microphone, shotgun microphone, and it's located just out of screen, right at my finger here, about 2.5 feet from my mouth. And so that's the quality that I'm getting out of that one. When I do the walk around, I'll be using the Sennheiser ME10 with the EW100 G3 packs. And so you'll be able to get an idea of what that wireless system sounds like. So without any further ado, let's take a look around the studio. So here's a pullback in the studio. You can see the green screen behind me and the lighting on both sides. I'm going to get into that in a moment. First, I'd like to let you know that I'm using the Sennheiser lavalier, the ME2, with the EW100 G3 body transmitter and the receiver, which is on the camera at the moment. There's my Rode NTG2, and you can see exactly the distance where it's at normally, but right now I am using the lavalier, which is well, just below me here. If you can't see it on the black shirt. It's a little tough, black shirt, black mic. My microphone is on a boom stand, so I can keep it out of frame when I'm speaking to you from the normal position. And so let's get into the lighting. Right above my head here, I have a Skylux LED. It's got barn doors and on a boom stand to help give me some separation from the hair and shoulders to separate me from the green screen. You'll notice that the green screen, well, it does have some wrinkles in it. I didn't iron it. I've pulled it as tight as possible. You don't want any big shadows in it, but the little wrinkles aren't going to bother your keying software when you take it out in post. But you have to have it evenly lit. And so in order to do that, I've got 2 Skylux LED lights, and they are on wheel stands. And they are equipped with strip boxes. And I don't have any diffusers on them. It's just that I wanted to get that elongation, the reflector effect from the strip box. And so what that does is I can just tune that in and focus that onto the green screen so it's evenly lit. Another one on that side. Now another advantage of the strip box is it flags the lighting so that it doesn't hit me or someone else who's sitting in that chair, whoever that may be, so that you get some separation from the screen and you don't get any light spill onto the shoulders, which is very important. The key light, another Skylux LED, and this one here is on a Octabox, and this is a Firefly XL Octabox, and I can link the show notes to a video that I did on it. Very capable Octabox, easy to use, and it's great for photography and for video. So I bring that one. This is the 3-foot version, and it gives a very nice soft diffuse light on whoever's sitting in the chair. And at the moment for my fill, I'm using an old photographic style hot light can. You can buy these at Home Depot for utility lights. It's just the aluminum, spun aluminum can, about 10 inches. And I've got a 56K fluorescent bulb in there. It's not 100% match to the LEDs, but it's close enough to use as a fill light. And hopefully my other Skylux will be in shortly. A lot easier to modify because it uses the bow and rings. So we'll talk about that in the next portion of the video as well. So in the studio, you'll notice that there are some blankets or some carpeting on the floor. Well, it's not a blanket or a carpet, it's a furniture pad. And so what I've done is I've gone to my local store here called Princess Auto. It's a chain that we have here in Canada. In the United States, you have a very similar store called Harbor Freight Tools. And lo and behold, they had on sale one day when I was there these furniture pads, which are 6 feet by 5 feet roughly, on sale for $10 each. So I thought that was a wonderful deal. So I picked up a whole bunch of them, and I've got 2 of them on the floor here. They help reduce the echo that's coming off the hardwood floor. I've got one which is out of set hanging between my family room and the studio setup. That helps just make the room a little bit smaller, and then again it kills some of that echo going over there. And on this wall I have 2 of them hung, which are there to help again reduce that echo. And I normally have the camera right here, and so it's a nice close tight shot. And so I have another blanket which is here, and I just pin it to the top here with some A-clamps, and that helps close off the room and takes away all of the echo that comes across. So that's how I'm getting that warmer audio. And if you've watched some of my earlier videos, it was pretty bad in here. It was very, very echoey. So let's take a look at the Skylux LED lights from Wescott. So there it is. That's the Skylux from Wescott. Nice and compact. It's a 1,000 watt equivalent LED. Now what that means, LEDs take an awful lot less power than a conventional incandescent bulb. But we use that incandescent bulb as a reference. So this LED segment here, the total power consumption of this light is only 100 watts. And so that has a lot of advantages. You're saving a lot of electricity and energy. And you're saving, well, you're not generating heat. So even when this thing is lit, I can put my hand right here and hold it there without any problems. There's a little bit of heat, but not like a 1,000 watt incandescent bulb. I'm not melting the talents or the products that I'm putting in front of the light, which is a really cool thing. So I'm saving on air conditioning costs in the summer, and energy cost all the way around. It's, well, we'll call it a green light, although it's not green at all. This is a 5400K color balance, which is almost daylight. 56 is the optimum, but that's okay. If we're using all of the lights at the same temperature, we just set our camera white balance to be 5400K, and you're all set. When you're mixing light, you can use a color balance card and get that back. And if you're only a couple of 100K between your sets of lights, you're not going to experience too many issues at all, unless you're getting into still photography portraits, and then you want to really make sure that all of your lights are the same color, unless you're going after that special effect. So behind here, you'll notice that there are, well, there's 3 things. There's a power switch on and off. There's a little intensity dial, volume control if you wish, and it dials the light from 30% to 100%, or 300 watts to 1,000 watts. And there's a little connector cord for the extension cable, and I'll go into that in a moment. At the front, there's a frosted lens that covers the LEDs. There's 5 LEDs in there, in behind, and that gives us the array. Now, one thing I should mention about these, a lot of people have come to me and say, wow, these are really expensive. There's a lot cheaper material out there. And yeah, you're right. There are cheaper lights, but one of the things that you have to look at is the CRI value, or the color rendering index. And I'm going to put a link to a couple of websites that talk about CRI, because I'm not into all of that math, but you'll understand a little bit of what's going on. Now, someone explained to me exactly why the CRI is so difficult to obtain on the higher CRI values. In order to get 5 perfectly matched CRI bulbs at 94 LED bulbs, you have to go through about 100,000 bulbs. And that number drops. For instance, the next biggest number that you'll find out there is around 87 CRI. And in order to find an equivalent panel of 87 CRI, you only have to look at a few hundred bulbs. So very, very select. I did have the opportunity to work with one of the Aurora Light Bank panels earlier last year, which was 95 CRI, and it retailed around $8,000. So you'll notice there's quite a bit of difference here. You can get these guys here in Canada. I've seen them just below the $1,000 mark, and actually they were on sale a little earlier, I think for $8.99. I'm not sure what they are in the States, but if they're $8.99 here in Canada, I know they're going to be cheaper in the States. So let's talk about it at the front here. First of all, we talked about the translucent fabric. There's a Bowen's lock. This comes with the protector, which just slides in there and locks on to protect the bulbs when you're transporting them. I pull that off. The comes with the 7-inch reflector. Now, I'm not a big fan of this reflector, although it works fine. There's a little tab there so you can put in an umbrella, and there's an umbrella holder down below here. Again, Bowens technology. But this particular reflector, I mean, guys, they missed the mark here, and I think it's a bit of a cash grab on that's just my opinion. There's no recessed ring here. It's almost 7 inches in diameter, but it's just, there's no recessed ring. So if you want to put an accessory on it, you have to tape it on with gaffer tape. I've purchased this particular bowl, which is a standard 7-inch bowl. I think this cost me around $30. And it's got the little rim here. It's a perfect 7-inch, so if you want to use grids, you can pop that in and use a 10-degree grid or any other type of grid or gels. It's got the rim around for the barn doors that I'm using behind me that I showed you a little bit earlier. So that is an available accessory, although I think that you know, maybe they could have spent a couple of dollars more and included this one instead of this one. That's just a personal opinion, but nevertheless, this one is available, and there are larger ones available. It uses the Bowens S-mount, as I mentioned before, and so there's a lot of stuff available for the Bowens S-mount. It's probably the most popular one. Most of the Oriental lights systems use the Bowens S-mount. Of course, there's Bowens and there's Calumet, so there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of accessories, a lot of modifiers that you can get. The case is all metal, which I like a lot. It's very robust, and it mounts on a typical 5/8-inch spigot from the light stand, and just screws in there to hold. There is a tilt knob here, which is a very, very positive feeling mechanism. It's all metal, which is really nice for tilting the head back and forth, and just give it a tighten. Well set up, well engineered. Even if you've put a very large light box on it, or soft box on it, or heavy modifier, a beauty dish, whatever, you just give this, you don't have to reef it with a pair of pliers. You just reef that down with your fingers, just give it a little snug, and it holds it really, really nicely. Comes with 2 cords. You've got your power cord, which plugs into the power supply, and talk about that one a bit later, or in a moment, I should say. And it comes with this 20-foot cord, which attaches to the back of the light, and they call this a ballast. I call it a power supply, but whether you choose to call it a ballast or a power supply, it comes in a pouch with a carrying strap or a hanging strap, so you can hang it onto your light stand. Your power cord plugs in here, turn it on and off, and your accessory cord or your light cord plugs in here and goes up onto your light stand. So you can have these. It's really nice to hang these. They're about 1.5 pounds, I guess, maybe 2 pounds. And so you can hang this down at the bottom of your light stand. It helps give you a little bit of counterbalance. One of the really nice thing about this is, I mean, all the electrical, this is a universal power pack, so it takes 100 to 250 volts. So if you're traveling, you're all set with that. What they've done by putting the battery pack or the power pack separate from the light, obviously they've lightened the load on the light, so if you're putting it on the boom, it's a lot easier. But also they've taken the heat away. So there is a little fan in here to cool the LEDs, but it's super, super quiet, so you don't hear it in video, which is really kind of cool. All right, some tests that I've done. First of all, I've taken a lot of photographs with it. Continuous light is very cool. It's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, which is neat, and allows you to do some pretty cool stuff. I've taken some amazing portraits with the Nikon 1 system, which is a mirrorless, and it doesn't even have a hot shoe adapter, so you can't use it with normal flash. You could use it with a point and shoot, your iPhone. You can take some amazing photographs. I've done some product photography with it using professional level DSLRs, and I've gotten some great results. The one thing about continuous lighting, and a lot of people have commented, well, it's very hard to use. Well, it's not hard to use, you just have to train yourself to see things properly. And I find that one of the easiest tricks that I could pass on to you is if you tend to underexpose your photographs and work from there, you'll notice that your results are going to come to you very, very quickly. Don't trust your viewfinder, don't trust your eye until you train your eye to see the intricate shadows and stuff. And don't forget to turn off the room lights and darken the room as much as possible, and just using the continuous lights when you're using that type of lighting for photography. For video, it's pretty fast and easy to come. Video tends to be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to lighting. So these really shine. There are more benefits than there are negatives on this light. There are a couple of little negatives. I'm not too fond of the spring that's on this, well, there you go. There's a little lock screw here that locks on your accessories. The advantage of the lock is it stops it from rattling. So if you've got a breeze or you've got a vibration, you're not going to get some rattling in your lights. The problem that I have is that this little spring, I've already lost a few. You can get them at Home Depot, but they're just a bit of a pain to go hunt down. So I've put a few in my stock. It tends to pop out. So it would have been nice if there would have been some kind of a little bit of a stop in there. The Bowens ring, I'm going to go back to that. It's really cool because there's a lot of accessories available. It's just not the friendliest ring to use when you're trying to put on a heavy softbox. Like everything else, you get used to it. I've been spoiled using the Photogenics or the Aurora Unilever, which are the same ring. Probably the easiest one to use out there, but not as many accessories as the Bowens. So there you have it, the Skylux from Wescott. I definitely do recommend it. It is a cool light to use, not only because it's cool temperature-wise, but it's very, very user-friendly, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the results. They are a little expensive, but light makes all of the difference. And I'm going to show you two pictures that I've taken this week. One taken with the Nikon 1 point-and-shoot camera and a $200 lens, and the other one, this one here, taken with the D800 Nikon and a 85mm f1.4 lens, which is considerably more expensive, somewhere around $2,000. And you can take a look at these two photos and you can see that lighting is the key. It really is what's all important. If you have good lighting, you're going to get good photography, you're going to get good videography. So enough about that. That's the Skylux. Check it out. I'm sure that you do make the decision to purchase it, you're going to be very, very happy with the product. Thanks for watching today's episode. I'm Denis Rule, the lighting guy. We'll see you soon.